Okay, the most common question we get is how much do I need to spend on a decent chef's knife? Well, there is no clear answer to that. The best knife that is for you might be the least expensive knife, in which case I have in front of me a whole bunch of brands that we carry at the moment that we have on hand. You know, the Victorinox is the least expensive. This is a $40 knife. And as you go up, you end up at this knife, which is almost $300 as a Masa Moto knife. Huge difference between them. This is not necessarily better for you than the Victorinox. It really comes down to a personal preference and personal budget, for that matter. Okay, and let me just go through a few of them. So starting with the Victorinox, excellent stamped steel knife. It's about 54 to 56 on the Rockwell hardness scale. It is a workhorse. Every self-respecting kitchen in the world has Victorinox knives floating around. This in particular is the most popular one. It's called the Fibrox. It is a food-grade plastic that's indestructible. The knife itself is just an awesome knife. It can do anything that you want to do with a chef's knife. It frequently wins top honors by Cooks Illustrated. Again, you know, based on that price and the quality, it's an awesome knife. You know, you move on as you get more expensive. You get different features. This is Sabatier, made by K. Sabatier, one of the oldest knife manufacturers in Thiers, France. This is hand forged. There's actually a link to the video on our website to the actual manufacturer making these knives. This is a part of history. In this case, I have a carbon steel knife. It's an aficionado's choice because the material will allow you to sharpen the edge quite acutely. But it has a full bolster, and here's another version that they make that's stainless steel. But again, it's this is a high carbon stainless steel compared to a carbon steel knife. Full bolster. This is an impregnated wood handle. This is a coral wood handle from Spain. Again, different shape of handle, different blade. You got about a 54 to 56 on the Rockwell hardness scale, very similar to the Victorinox, but have a little bit sexier of a knife. Moving on up, this is about, you know, $90 to $100. These are global knives, extremely popular Japanese knives, made from their own proprietary blend of Cremova 18 stainless steel. Essentially, it's a very hard stainless steel. It's probably between 59 and 61 on the Rockwell hardness scale. And what makes this a really nice design is the fact that they stamp it out of this one piece, and there is no other component, no other material used in the handle. It's great. It looks good, very light, very agile knife, and a great bang for your buck at around $100, $90 to $100. Moving on to a slight step up. Now this is about a $150 knife. I think this should be actually a $400 knife, but it is what it is. We get these directly from the knife maker Moritaka in Japan. This is the 23rd. We're on the 23rd and 24th blacksmiths in the family that have been making this. They also make samurai swords. In order to achieve Buddhahood, you would get a knife made by one of these guys. It is a part of history. What they're using is an extremely hard steel called Aogomi No. 2. It is otherwise referred to as Japanese blue steel. He actually lacquers it with this black on top. But it's an incredibly hard steel. It will rust. It's not stainless. It will rust. But what they use is a rosewood handle and a very sharp and a very great decision on his part. What they do is forge this blue steel into stainless steel. If you can notice, there's kind of a change in color, and that stainless steel goes into the handle because a lot of Japanese knives suffer from internal rot in the handle. As soon as some moisture goes into the wood, eventually it starts to rust because they're using carbon steel, and then the handle comes out. So in this case, that's not going to happen. It's an awesome knife, handmade. It is an absolute honor to carry a knife like this in our collection. We have Wusthof, a German knife manufacturer, been around for hundreds of years. One of the highest quality German knives around. They have many lines of knives. The one that we like the most is this one. It's called the Classic Icon. It's almost a mix between a classic German knife and a Japanese knife. If you notice the really keen design on the handle and even the shape and this kind of bolsterless or partial bolster design, it's a very smart design on their part. They use a Rockwell hardness scale of around 58, 59, so it's a great quality steel. This is around $150, $160. Moving on to our Mac. This is a Mac Mighty. Mac makes several lines as well. This is one of their higher end lines. about $175. They add they add vanadium and other alloys to make the steel extremely hard. They use always a very thin spine, which is almost a signature of Mac's design. Mac has become incredibly popular amongst chefs and knife enthusiasts just because of the quality of the knife you get at the price that you pay for. Shun is also extremely popular, Japanese knife. This is called their Premier line. It's actually a hammered Damascus finish where you have a very thin core. In this case, they're using VG10 steel in the core, and then 16 layers of stainless are actually hammered on both sides. You have a pack of wood handle. It is absolutely a gorgeous knife to have in your collection. Manufactured in the exact same way as a Kasumi, another Japanese knife made in Seiki, Japan. You have just a slightly different wood used, but you also have the 32 layers on each side, so you have this wavy pattern. Here they've left a hammered pattern, here they've left a wavy pattern, but essentially the two knives are the same. Then we have our most expensive knife that I have in front of us. It is made by Masa Moto. It is hypermolybdenum vanadium, extremely hard. It's probably around 64 on the Rockwell hardness scale. Recently, Cooks Illustrated tested out a whole bunch of chef's knives, and this came out on top. It is a pricey knife, but it is incredible. Once you pick it up, it doesn't look as incredible as it feels in your hand once you pick it up. It is extremely light, with a good weight on the back end, and which is unlike a lot of the Japanese knives. It has a great balance and very, very thin blade that allows you to cut through anything. But again, it's a very hard blade, and it's more of the aficionado's choice. This is not something you want to go up against bone with, because you are going to chip the actual knife itself because it's quite hard, but incredibly sharp. You know, you have a lot of brands. This is just what we have on hand today. Plenty to choose from. Really, what's best is not what is necessarily the most expensive. What's best for you is what feels the best in your hands, and what suits your cutting technique and your slicing style, and we've discussed that in other videos.